What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode here of Radio Wigwam's Palangi Studio of Rock, only every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 UK. Today we have a special guest in the building here, rock guitar extraordinaire, Robby Lochner here. What's going on, Robney? How you doing?
Oh, doing okay. How you doing?
Pretty good. Does anyone ever call you Rob?
Yeah,
Once in a
Rob.
while?
Yeah,
Robbie.
usually
I,
my
I
mom.
like Robbie. I'll stick with that.
Most people call me that, and I've just stuck with it. My mom calls me Rob.
Yeah.
Usually Tony in the band calls me Rob. Other than that, everybody else calls me Robbie. I'm like, whatever. I respond to either.
There you go. So what have you been doing, man? Now you've been a past guest, so I've interviewed you, I think 2 years ago now.
Has it been that long? Yeah,
I
probably.
think it was actually for my Instagram live. I don't think it was for the radio station.
Okay.
But this whole show today is dedicated to Jack Russell from Great White because I met you in 2018 when I opened up in Lake George, New York, and then I've always been a big fan, and it completely shocked me the news, and I'm just like it stinks that we're just losing all these 80s metal legends and stuff. I tell everyone, I go, I know he was going through a lot, but his voice, Jack's voice, was like a tank. It sounded the same as when he was 21, you know, unbelievable singer.
He really did kind of hold on to that part of it up till, I don't know, the last couple years. It definitely started to show a lot of more cracks. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, nights were like, then he was just going through so much, and we didn't know. No one knew what it was. He was being misdiagnosed constantly. It was like, oh, it's this. No, it's that. Oh, it's this. It's like, okay, what is it? I guess that's why they call it the practice of medicine, because they're practicing. They sure were practicing on him.
Yeah, and that's what they do too. You always wonder if it's like money because they're getting you back, and well, we're seeing what this is. It's not this. Why don't we do this test and this test?
Here, take this drug, see if you're better. Oops, nope, you're not. Okay, try this one. Or let's
Yep.
do a higher dose or a lower dose. And I mean, it's just crazy. It was
Yep.
just,
So on the radio version here, we just heard "Rock Me," which is the I guess the famous Great White song, and my friend's like, you know what, we should do a cover song or something in his honor with maybe that song. He kind of sounds like Jack a little bit in some ways, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have to talk to Robbie on that, and we'll
Mhm.
see here. But
Yeah.
what's I mean, you've picked out two songs today. We can talk about Crazy too, but what's your favorite experience writing with Jack? What was that like?
Huh. Let me think. It would depend. I mean, it was every song had its own path.
Yep.
There was one that he really liked a lot, and I actually like it a lot. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's kind of a little different, but it was called She Moves Me. And
Okay.
that one was his brainchild. But we wrote together. So he had an idea, and he kept telling me, I got this idea, and he kind of sang it to me a little bit over the phone here and there. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not really getting it, but whatever. And then we were in Washington, and we had just got there. We had a gig that night. He goes, come over to my room. I want you to hear this idea. He goes, I want you to take a serious listen to the idea. So I go, okay. And then I listened to it, and I thought, all right, didn't really get it. But I thought, you know what? You're really liking it. You keep pushing it. I'm going to work on it. So I took it, recorded on my phone, came back in the studio and just started developing it. And I was like, hey, you know what? I see it. I'm starting to see the vision of this.
There you go.
Played it back to him. He's like, yeah, this is cool. And so that one happened. And it's definitely different. Um, it's a little bit lighter on the guitar tones and stuff, but
Hmm.
uh, the idea was to kind of lean it towards Rolling Stones. So the guitar playing I play kind of in that vein of Rolling Stones
Okay.
ish. People say it sounds like Santana. I don't hear that, but I like the tune. I'm like, the more I would hear it, the more I'm like, yeah, this is cool. Yeah, it's different, but so different is good. You don't
Yeah.
always have, the same sound, the same thing. Part of developing and like an artist. I mean,
Yeah,
even
you can't do the same record always, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
and we could have done that, we could have, and I had talked to him before we did that first record, like we could certainly rehash old Great White songs. I don't see the point in it. It's like if we could do another version of Rock Me, okay, but why? It's like go listen to Rock Me. Let's do
Yeah.
something different. Try it and grow.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the acoustic live versions or something of when you guys performed that and Lake George. It was an acoustic set. It was just you and Jack, and I was like, something like that as a, I don't know what they call it, bonus track or something is really cool for the fans.
Yeah, that's cool because it was different. We weren't trying to compete with the original recording. We were
Yeah.
just different version, and I liked it a lot. I thought this is really cool. Played it
And
with open strings, and it just kind of had a vibe, and he just sang it like, it gave a different feel for him to sing to, and
yeah.
he sold.
And there's a lot of, 80s metal guys now still touring, still trying to do the stuff. I mean, you see Motley Crue and all that, but in a way, I've always thought Jack's voice is a little bit like Motley Crue's in the sense of maybe the range and stuff like that. But
Yeah, they're similar, definitely. Yeah.
but there's a lot more. Let's just say I love Motley Crue, but there's a lot more to Jack than the Motley Crue, Vince's voice. And developing songs. I've heard that record. I remember because that record was out when we did that show, and I remember the music video coming out, and I thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
You remember that music video that came out from the record? I forgot what song it was, but
Sign of the Times. It was Sign of the
yeah,
Times.
yep.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to this, I go, this dude, he's still got it. I go, because I would listen to the old stuff too, and I go, but it's not the '80s mixed sound, but it's the reminiscent of that.
That's exactly what was kind of, we wanted to make sure we maintain that. And, because it is Jack,
Yeah.
so I mean, Jack's going to be Jack. And he does, like on Crazy, I guess you're going to play that track Crazy. You hear that Jackisms in his voice.
Yep.
That was a fun one. That was my
It's a
brainchild,
little
I guess.
funky track too. It's got a
Yeah, it's
sassiness or something.
yeah, totally. It's for me, I always thought it was like Aerosmith. I wanted something that was very Aerosmithish, where he could kind of just be whimsical and stuff. And so I brought the idea to him. And at first, if you hear him tell the story in some of the songwriting, he would say that, oh, we were like two peas in the pod and it was easy. It's like, yeah, it wasn't really that easy to start. It was
It
kind of like,
never
but
is.
he pushed a lot of stuff away, and then it was like, man, I kept pushing some stuff like crazy. He kept pushing it away, and then finally he started kind of going okay, and he started working on it a little bit, and then
Hmm.
he had some lyric ideas, and like, yeah, this isn't really good. And I can still remember where I was at. I was walking up to my door coming home, and I just before I opened the door, I told him, I go, you know what? Let's write it about crazy, some crazy, like, like the Buck Cherry, you're
Yes. Yep.
that kind of thing. But I go, but it'll be our own thing. But just about I mean, how many crazy women have you known, Jack? Come on. And so he goes, okay.
Four. No.
So he started coming up with lyrics and stuff, and then we started bouncing them back and forth. And he told me, he said that I was the only one he ever trusted with lyrics. He told me that. I don't know, for sure, because don't know the writing history with him in the past.
Yeah.
But he didn't like when somebody came in and did stuff with his lyrics.
Yeah.
But I would come in and I didn't necessarily change the lyrics. I would go, well, nah, I'd tell him lines that I didn't like. I go, it's too trite. Can we do something different?
There you go.
And then I would give him
Suggestions.
yeah,
Yeah.
suggestions. And I would give some of them, he'd go, hey, I like that. I'll use it. Other ones he'd go, no, but this. And I go, oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
We bounce them back and forth until we were both pretty happy with it.
That's how it should work too. It shouldn't be like, well, you got to do this and you're doing this, and it kind of hinders the creativity.
Totally. And the thing is, he's got to sell it as singing it. So I would never want to put words in his mouth that he doesn't want to sing and that he doesn't believe and couldn't sell.
Yeah.
The idea would be going, I'm not thinking this. I'll tell him, I don't think this really works. Can we do something else? Or maybe it works in a very cliche sort of way. But I was like, let's just don't be cliche. Let's
Yeah.
try and get away from
Yeah.
that. And it's too easy to just write, I looked into your eyes and you were so beautiful from my heart, whatever. It's like, no.
Yeah. Now I know you've had the home studio for how many years now?
Oh boy. Uh I've had it. Well, I've had the house here for 18 years, so 18 years.
Okay. So remember last time we were talking, because on the show we like talk about gear and stuff like that too. What type of mic did Jack use? Like what was his go-to?
Well, on that record, I used the Neumann M49 or 149.
Yep, the fatter one, I
Mm.
think. Yep.
What's that?
The fatter looking mic, I think that was.
No, it's smaller than the 49.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
don't have the 49. I almost bought it the time I got that, and then I kicked myself later for not spending the extra money.
Yeah. Yep.
But anything we did after that, I was using. I have it's a Telefunken knockoff, and it's got a
Okay.
C little cap in it, and I love the mic. So
Yeah.
I use that mostly for anybody that comes in and sings, but we'll audition different mics because you never know, you know. And I
Yep.
have a C4000 that we've used as well. Those seem to be kind of the best for him because he had a certain sound to try and get the tone out of his voice.
Yep. It's funny how certain microphones they have their own characters, but then you have a character when you sing. And
Yep.
it all you need that right combination. If you're lucky enough to have multiple mics or to figure it out,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes people don't. And so when you were recording that song that you recorded the guitars at your studio there, right?
I recorded everything here.
Okay,
Drums,
everything.
guitars.
So that whole record is pretty much your studio?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Minus maybe some of the bass tracks. Because
Okay.
we had Dan come in here and do bass tracks. And while Jack and I sat here, and he sat right here behind me. And then there was a point where I was like, well, it'll speed it up if I just send it to you and let you do. There was some tracks at that point where like, he knows what he's doing. Let's just
Yeah, let's just do it. Were they DI anyways? That kind of style?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He'd spend the time in his own studio, send it to me, and then we would listen to it, or I would listen to it and tell him, and then of course Jack was the ultimate yes or no on everything.
Yeah. And did you
So
use those Marshall heads in it right there?
it depends on the track. I've got 4 Marshall heads here. That's a JMP. It's a 7950 watt. The one below it is an original 2000, which was 1981. It's a rare one, 250 watts.
Wow.
I also have the Marshall Major in the other room, and then I've got this 800 down here and an EVH, and I've got a Fender in the couple Fenders in the other room, and just a bunch of different amps. These ones
Wow.
here, I have an ISO booth that I've got the cabinets in that I mic it, so then I can just run my speaker cable to the other room, and then because I do all my work here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all the stuff I do, I like to be sitting here and play the guitar right in front of these. The monitors are right here,
Yep.
which you can't see from this angle. But other than when I'm singing backing vocals or singing like on my own stuff or whatever, lead vocal, I have an area set up in my other room, and it's a wireless keyboard. So I could take this and just go and stand there and hold it.
You sound like me. That's exactly what I do. Yeah, there's something about it. So I like hearing the guitar coming out of the monitors. I don't know if it's because it's like that's the way it's gonna sound in some
Yeah.
ways, rather than being in the room. And so you take the speaker cables and you just plug them in the head that you want to, and that goes to like different cabs.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's
It's in
cool.
an isolated booth, and it's still because that way you do hear what's coming through the speaker because it can be deceptive standing in front of an amp and you're going, wow, sounds great. And you listen to it in the monitors and go, doesn't sound like I thought it sounded.
Yeah. Yep.
It's deceptive because of the volume.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the trouble with recording, I think. I've had that problem for years is I'm like, it doesn't sound like the amp like 100%. And I was like, there's always something missing. Now I think I've got that cracked a little bit more with EQ help. Not on the digital end, but coming from the gear too. You kind of have to activate the mic a little bit. And like you said, there's like a volume sweet spot between, yeah, you can get your amp, you know, if it's a tube, you can heat it up to whatever, right? But the preamps and stuff, you have to figure that out too.
And mic placement. Well, you move that mic just a tiny little bit and it changes the
Yeah.
character, the
Yep.
sound.
I keep mine as close as you can to that speaker grill, usually.
I used to do that. I'm starting to pull back a little bit
Oh, okay.
Because I use a second mic. I'll use lately I've been using a 421 off access. On the record we did, I used what did I use? I think I used the Shure. It's a large diaphragm. I can't think of the name of it right now. I got a pair of them that I use for the back of room for drums,
Oh, is
large
it not
drum.
the ribbon mic ones, right?
No, I can't think of it.
Hmm.
But it's a Shure. And I
Yeah,
was using that for a while. Then I used the C4000 off access and 421. I've used a ribbon off access. I
that's cool.
typically stick with the 57 as my main go-to, but I
Yep.
find it gives me a little more bulk and a little bit more of the sound with a second mic in play.
Yeah, yeah, you need two mics. I noticed on a cab. The 57s are great. How old's your 57 mic?
The one I like, it's a beta. It's not, well, I guess it's kind of old now. It's probably
Okay.
about 20 years old now.
Okay. I think the older ones have a better sound. I have a Unidel one, a 57, that goes back, I think, to the 80s. It sounds so much better than any of the 57s you can buy now.
Mm. Yeah, I
It's
don't
US
have
made too. I don't,
my friend. We switch out gear. He's got a bunch of 57s too, and I've kind of tried his old 57s, and I still prefer the beta. It has a
Yeah.
little bit more range to it.
Yep. Oh
I'll
yeah.
use it on the snare, and I've had guys who come in and go, "No, it's got to be the old 57." I'm like, "Oh, all right." But I mean, the beta to me just has a little bit more in the highs, and it's like I'm going to be adding those anyhow on that snare drum. So
Yep,
if
it
it's going to
does.
be in the first place, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it definitely does. So everybody hear the video version, you're not going to hear the song, but for the radio version, we're going to go and play the crazy track here, and we'll be right back in a second. So we're back here on Palangi Studio of Rock with Robby Lochner here from Jack Russell's Great White. We're talking about gear and all that good stuff here. Now you're talking about crazy. Now you chose a couple. What's your favorite song off that record that came out? I also want to go into quick. You guys did a Led Zeppelin tribute.
Yes,
That was cool.
yeah, that was a lot of
Talk a
fun.
little bit about that one.
That one he just wanted to do. They'd done it before, and he wanted to do another one, and he was just bent on doing it. So we did it. We just you know kind of plugged in. I tracked the whole thing, but we plugged in and then ran it down.
Yep.
Just
Well, that's probably the
like
easiest one, right?
yeah, I mean, because we played it down. It was just okay. Everybody, we rehearsed the tunes. Make sure you're ready. Let's go. And recorded the whole thing in its entirety. Though what was a little tough about mixing that was I noticed the difference with the drums about midway point. He was hitting them different, and I was like, oh man, this made it tough.
Yeah.
It made it harder because of that change and everything. Everybody else was playing about the same intensity, and it really made a kind of weird. But I mean, Jack was he was at that point just still singing
Yeah.
the S out of it.
And he was kind of like, for what I gather, kind of a simple guy. Like he lived on a yacht in Florida, I think.
No, no, it was Redondo Beach.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and he was like, it's I don't know if I forgot if he said he was married or not, but he
Yeah,
was like, yeah, he was like, it's just he goes, it's easy, I got everything there, and I think he said I'm a vocalist. He goes, what do I need all this equipment for?
that sounds right. That sounds like him.
Yeah, and I was like, that's true. I go, what do you own? Like, if you own, even if you own five microphones, I go, that takes up no room at all.
Yeah, he didn't have room for it on his boat. Really didn't want to have room for it. It didn't matter. I had everything we need here or have had.
Yeah, yeah.
Case, so it was like
So
it's
he'd
all
fly
good.
in, right? He'd fly in,
Oh
or
no, no, Redondo Beach is close.
oh, okay. I wasn't sure where.
Yeah, he would drive over here. I'm in Orange County, and it's
Okay,
probably clear traffic, but he's on the pier. Made it a little tougher. He'd do it in an hour or a little under.
okay. So that's great. You just pop right over and do everything. What's
Yeah.
your favorite moment in the studio? Do you have like a moment where you're like, I'm always gonna remember that? whether it's a goof up or joke or
There's just God, there's so many different things. I mean, I could think of like writing the lyrics to Sign of the Times. Excuse me, I've been getting over a cold.
yeah.
um, Writing the lyrics to Sign of the Times, we probably did 5 different versions of that before we came up with it. And in that same day, we had written He Saw It Coming, which you're asking what my favorite track is. It's probably that one.
Okay.
Very Queen like, and just the orchestrated all those vocals and stuff. It was a lot of fun and tricky to do. But that same day we had done we did lyrics with that and wrote them about that Jodi Arias. If anybody remembers her, she was the girl that murdered her boyfriend in Phoenix. And I was like, oh, okay, this is okay. And he's listening to it, kind of the ideas. He goes, no, this sucks. And it's like,
Yeah.
we got to redo. I'm like, okay, I mean, if you say so. And so we sat in here, and that day we got on a roll. It was just really cool. We did the He Saw It Coming, just all of a sudden came together and just started kind of going, oh no, how about this line? Yeah, yeah, how about this line? And we were just rolling and rolling. And we got through it pretty quick. I was going, well, let's look at, the other song. I don't even remember what we called it. It had so many different names. And then I think I mentioned something about Sign of the Times, and then it just started rolling. And he was like,
It's a
oh
good
yeah,
title.
yeah. And then it was like, oh yes, this is kind of cool. Then it was like, okay, we started just rolling with ideas. And it was really, I mean, after we struggled, he wanted to give that song up. He was like, okay, forget it. It's not going to happen.
Oh, really? I like the intro of it. It's nice.
Yeah. So it's funny the way he was gonna give up on it. We've done lyrics, 5 different lyrics. He was frustrated with it, and then that evening we just peeled him right off. Just peeled him off. No, how about this? Oh yeah, how about this? And I don't remember who did what at that point. We back and forth, and it just came together like pure magic. I was like, wow, we did it.
Sometimes, sometimes you have to like beat it almost, like you said, like peeling back certain things, and you just keep working on it, and then it hits, or it doesn't, right? And then you're like,
Yeah, but it was pure magic on that. The other one that I really liked was the all vocal thing that we did. It was called Godspeed, the
mhm,
acapella track. So I brought the idea up to Jack, and I go, I've always wanted to do an acapella track. I don't know. What do you think of the idea? He's like, not so sure. Somewhere there's a videotape of him walking in here and me playing it to him. And I don't know who's got it or where it's at. But it was like, okay, we kind of worked some stuff up. And then he was like, yeah, okay, whatever, maybe, but not in an acapella. So I did an acoustic guitar. I had him come in here and sing, and he sang it down probably like 5 times. And
okay,
then each time it was just different. The length of it was different, just different. And I took it and I comped it together and shortened it and just made a really cool performance out of what he did. And then I started layering it. I had Dickie come in and, okay, Dickie, I need a beatbox. And then after he did that, and we got like a loop, sounding like a little drum beat going through, then I just had him sing specific high harmonies that
yeah,
we thought his voice was good for. Then I had Dan come in. I go, Dan, I need you to do some bass lines. And he started singing bass lines. And then he did it one day, and then I had him come back again. I think it was the next day or a couple days later. And I was just like, I'm missing stuff. Some of it's not working. A lot of it's good. I just need this much more. And he came in and we finished it off. So now I have bass, drums, and a lead vocal. And then I
wow,
just did the 2 guitar parts. I mean, I forget why Tony wasn't available for something, and we needed it done. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do what I consider his guitar part and my guitar part and the solo
together, yeah,
vocal. But
yeah,
so I just did each part and just kind of carved my way through without really knowing what I was doing, just let it kind of happen
like an
and just
experiment
created
a little bit.
a lot. I was working on it 15 hours to get the bulk of the bass track of it done. That was just
Wow,
going through. And I would do one section and then I would harmonize it. And then I'd go, oh, okay, maybe change this and change that. And then I kept doing it and go, okay, that section's cool. Next section. And then it was like when I did the second verse, everything comes down lower, which would be, you would think, not what you would do on a song, but
hmm.
it just did it. And it just seemed like, hey, this is kind of cool.
Is
And just,
there? Oh, go ahead.
what's that? Yeah, so I
Oh,
carved my way through it. And it was like, okay, this is really cool. Then the next day I came in and it was 8 hours of doing that solo and doing harmonies. And
Oh
I'm like,
wow.
long time. And
Man.
just then I put a nice balance together and I invited Jack over to hear it in the room. And then I videotaped him walking in, okay, sit down and listen to the track. And he just sat there just like stunned. He just was stunned. He just couldn't believe it. He's just going, I can't believe this. This is amazing. He just loved it. And I go, yeah, I think so. It sounds 50s, kind of doo-wop. But I
Yeah.
go, I love the track, and a lot of people really like it. Not everybody's gonna like it. I mean, I get it, but it was something different to throw out there. And
Yeah,
there's a
it's, off formula, let's say, a little bit. And sometimes that really works.
yeah,
And
that was
what is it, how long does it usually take you, like, whether it's that record or Led Zeppelin or whatever, like, to record and say mix and master like one song? Or do
one
you do,
song. Well, the Zeppelin thing was all one shot. It's all on one
yeah,
track. It's
that's,
one through. So it was, I got balances, got to try to get the drums together, and just try to make it as simple as I could,
that was
because
really fast. So say like like Crazy or something, and like one song, because I know how long it takes sometimes to mix or master, because you kind of sometimes you go back and you got to fix stuff. Or you're like, oh, that sounds good, and then you're like, oh, it really doesn't. You know?
yeah, I mean, it's the tracking part of it is the longest part. I mean, you got to get the tracking right,
Yep.
and every song is different. Some go faster than others. Crazy was like we had some other rhythm tracks that just didn't work, so I had to go back in and cut rhythm tracks that were just simpler. It was you
Yeah.
going like something real simple like that, where before there was something on there that was just way too busy and distracting, and it was
Yeah.
pulling away from people.
It's funny because
And
those are really cool riffs if you play them out of the song,
yeah,
but you have to simplify things to make it sound better sometimes.
that's totally what happened on that one. And a lot of it came from the bass line and really from Jack, because when Dan was in here recording, he was playing a bunch of different stuff and it wasn't really quite working. And then Jack just started singing that.
Oh
And
wow.
I'm, yeah, that's cool. And then kind of played that. And then I played off of what Dan did after that for that second guitar track.
Okay.
Did that.
What's your favorite I mean you've done countless live performances and stuff with him, but what's your favorite maybe show and experience? Is there a certain time where you're just like this man, wow, this really sticks out?
I mean, there are a lot of them that really stick out from the very first real show we did with him. Um, it was in Florida. That one was a really good one. There was also another one in Indiana that I think it was like 8 second saloon or 9 second or 7 second. I forget what it is. That was early on. That was a really, really fun, good show. Really stuck out to me. There's a bunch of them we played with ZZ Top. That was great. There
I think
was
he played on a it was almost like a pier over the ocean somewhere. Um I had seen footage of it. I was like, that's I don't know if it was with Poison. You guys played with Poison before?
not Poison, but Brett
Okay.
Michaels.
Oh yeah, Brett Michaels then. Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, there was good ones with him. I mean, the cruises we did were really good. I mean, there's just so many different ones. Some of the acoustic shows really stood out to me too. There were some that were just really, you would think, acoustic show, you don't get to run around on stage, it's lower energy, blah blah blah, whatever. But it was there's some of them like when we were done, we're going, man, that was quite an experience.
Yeah. It's different. It's definitely different, but some of them I bet you enjoy them more because it's like, well, I don't have to run around and all that, and I can actually think about the music and look at the audience a little bit more.
Well, I mean, I always look at the audience when I'm playing full
Yeah.
band,
Yeah.
engage.
Some people don't, but
I've just that's my thing is I like to engage with people. I like to
yep.
see the reactions. I'm looking out at everybody and trying to just see everybody out there
Yeah.
and just all the way around. And in bigger venues, I'll be trying to look back. I just like to engage with people because they're there to enjoy the show. And if they're enjoying it, I like to, feed off of that energy more than just feeling the energy, but seeing it makes you feel it even more than, oh wow, that
Yeah.
person's to, and maybe you point or say hello or whatever, you know.
And they remember that forever.
Yeah, some people get pretty excited when you point at them. You know,
Yeah.
like,
And they're
hey,
like,
okay, here's a guitar pick, and throw something at them, you know.
yeah. Yeah. Especially like, well, I remember he did that. And, especially younger kids and stuff really like that too. Or you point them out a couple times. And so there's always like one person sometimes that you point out a couple times. And then they're the ones that end up becoming a really diehard fan.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because of that or what, but
Yeah, hopefully it's a combination of that and the music, you know.
yeah, oh yeah, of course. Well, they're there first, right? To see guys. That's just the
Yeah.
extra thing. There's a,
Yeah.
I don't know if how Jack dealt with. I know he was really good with his fans and stuff, and but some people were always kind of like, some artists they're like, I only sign autographs if it's paid or certain times. It seemed like whoever just kind of came up and talked with him, he would just do it, and
Always.
yeah,
Always. There was a point there, a little short while, where there was a guy who was a con artist that weaseled his way into the band and worked with us for a little while. And then he got the boot pretty quick, but he was trying to charge for everything, and it just wasn't going over well with people. It's like all these people are like friends, and that just wasn't gonna fly, you know. And
yeah.
that was, probably 22 to 23. I think that happened for a couple
Oh,
of shows.
after COVID.
Yes.
Yeah, I could see that because they're trying to get all the money that they can, those guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's
He was not that way because he was always grateful to anybody. He talked to anybody. I've seen it many, many times. He was very friendly with everybody. I only saw him one time get a little upset with somebody. One time.
wow.
And it was we did an acoustic show in Bone, Idaho, and it was great. I mean, really just memorable outdoors. This little old stagecoach stop from the 1800s. A lot of people were in this little overhang and there's campfires and just really cool. And then we go into the building and we're doing a meet and greet, signing stuff. And some woman comes in and goes, to me, she goes, it's so nice that you get to play music with your dad. And I was like, oh my God. And he goes, what? Dad? I, you don't look that young and I don't look that old. He got mad. He
uh,
still signed it. He signed
yeah, it's
it.
kind of a thing you brush off.
I was like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I was like, boy, that was something else. That
Like,
was
you know
probably,
what? It's cool to play with my buddy. Yeah, it is.
yeah, I was like, and I swear the next night we played another acoustic show, the same thing happened.
Oh.
I don't know, but he didn't hear it. And I just like, shh, shh, no, no, no.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say that.
Yep.
And
Oh,
then I'm
that's
going,
funny.
do I really look like him? Do I look like Jack? I go, I don't think I do, but not whatever.
The long hair. Say, I'm gonna go throw a bandana on. I don't know, man.
And that was the only time I ever saw him get upset with anybody. I mean, I never seen him. He was friendly to everybody.
Yeah. Yep.
Not to anybody, anywhere, anytime, airports, stores, you name it. He just was very accessible.
I was surprised on my Facebook page. A lot of my followers and stuff on there were posting a bunch of pictures and videos, and there were people that I want to say not that I would never guess, but I didn't know that many people like had met him and gotten video and stuff too. And it was like, because I don't know how to describe it. There are people that really don't do like meet and greet stuff and this, but basically everyone was saying how friendly he was and approachable, and he'd take a picture of anybody, and it's so like everyone came out of the woodworks, as I call it.
Oh yeah, he would chat people up. It didn't matter. It wasn't like, sign something and run.
Yeah,
He did meet and greets. It wasn't that way unless it was somebody running it that just did it that way. And,
yeah,
and before the show, if we did it, it had to be because he had his warm up schedule, and it was like, okay, it had to be quicker because he's got to warm up and he didn't want to, tire out his voice by talking too much. But you catch him any other time after show or anything, I mean, you see him just chatting and chatting and chatting. He's not going to just, hi, how you doing? Sign something and run. He never
Yeah.
did that. He wasn't that guy, you know?
Yeah. No. I remember this is what I remember is we walked in, I had my gear on. You just finished sound check and came off the stage, and I think the owner introduced me to you guys. And Jack was on his phone, and my dad was there. And my dad came to the concert, and my dad started talking to him. And then I don't know how, but he gave him Jack gave my dad his phone number, and we were talking about that, and I was like, we're only 4 minutes in or 5 minutes in, I just walked in and whatever, and he gave him his phone number. I wasn't doing any radio stuff or anything at that time either, and I was like, you know what though, I never called him because I don't really know what I would say, and didn't want to be the guy like that was like, hey, I opened up for you, and I was wondering if I could like if we could do some more stuff or something like that. But I do know I tried, I think last year, the year before, to interview him, and you guys were so busy with your touring schedule that I didn't get to. Um,
Yeah.
but that's when everybody too was it was coming out of COVID, like 22. Everyone was so
Yeah.
busy and they were trying to just figure out their lives again, you know?
Yeah. He did give out his number to a lot of people. I thought, I ain't giving out your number to. I mean, he did that a lot,
Yeah,
which is interesting because for the most part, he doesn't answer his phone.
that's what I figured, but
I mean, there's a lot of people calling him. He's like, I'm not sure who it is, and he just typically didn't answer his phone. He would answer it for me and a few other people.
yeah,
And then sometimes randomly just okay, felt like talking. Sometimes when he's at home, maybe he didn't feel like talking if he didn't know who it was. Okay, who is it? I don't recognize the number. Well, you start wondering, but it's like, Jack, you gave out your number to so many people. I mean,
yeah,
some of them are gonna call you.
yeah. Or they all a million text messages or something like that too,
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes.
exactly. And he didn't really even know how to use his text messaging for a long time.
Yeah, I remember that because he told my dad, he's like, I don't know how to do this. He was like, whatever. And yeah, it's there's still I'm a little old school, but like fans and stuff, like if they were to some people just keep texting and texting and on regular phone text, and it's like some people just don't do that. Some people do more social media or whatever. And people don't quite understand that sometimes, but I thought it was really nice of him, and I was just like, well, but I didn't want to be that guy to be like, we had a great show, and if you had any other opportunities, I'd like to come with you and play some stuff, but you don't want to be that guy sometimes that you know
Yeah, and the thing is his memory, and he'd always said his memory wasn't, he goes, my memory. Well, now we know why, you
yeah,
know. Um, and he was always really afraid that it might be that because his parents both had dementia.
yeah,
So times it just, like, wait a minute, this is weird, He would just not remember things, certain things. And there's some things he would just really remember and other things he couldn't. I mean, there would be times he would call me 4 or 5, 6 times in a day. And sometimes he'd be asking the same question. I go, Jack, we just talked about that. We did? Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, oh,
yeah,
clearly there'll be spouts of the dementia hitting him. He must have had it for, I don't know, several years, probably 4 or 5 years. My guess is he probably had it from about 19 to 2020 on is when it was really onsetting. I don't think
yeah,
but I remember in 2018 him still saying, yeah, I don't remember. There's certain things he wasn't remembering. And that could have been any number of things, but I think the real onset was probably happening by 2020, 2021. But when we came back in 2021, he was on, it,
yeah. I seen the footage.
it was really good. But by the end of that year, he had a surgery on his colon. And after that, it really just everything started going down from
Oh,
there.
okay.
It was like it started kind of trickling down. He was weaker. His voice took longer to come back. And then he had another surgery in 23, was it? Yeah, when he had that neck surgery, super invasive.
Yeah, Did he see
And
like vocal coaches and that kind of stuff,
yeah,
do you know? Or yeah.
he did. They were giving
Yeah.
him different advice, stuff that trying to change up his warm up habits and different things. And he's going, oh, okay. So he had all these different things he was trying, but I think it was futile at that point because it was after that neck surgery, it was never going to be the same. It was supposed to be like a 4 hour surgery and it was like close to 12.
Yeah.
Just scary. And he was supposed to be like standing up straight after that. And he's going to be a whole new guy. And then when I saw him, I thought, what? You're leaning forward, more forward. And he had this thing sticking out of his back, like this metal pole. And it was just, what the hell? And he was so fragile. It just weakened him and sped everything up. And supposedly, if he didn't do it, he was going to be a quadriplegic. Is that true? Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a good move or not, but it doesn't even matter at this point.
Yeah. What's what's one thing that you'll always remember about him? Maybe that you want people to know.
I think that just how generous he was. He could be really generous. I mean, for it's just little things, He would just do little things. He was pretty generous with the band as far as, paying, compared to a lot of bands.
Yeah.
And just things like, clothes. He would buy a shirt and goes, yeah, it doesn't really fit me anymore. You want it? Yeah, I'll take that.
Yep.
Because like most of the clothes I had on stage were from him for a while. It's like, oh, you can't
That's
give me
cool.
stuff. I'm like, sure, because we're about the same size.
Mhm.
So I was like, yeah, yeah. And then I would take it and tailor it. But I mean, he was always just he was generous. And he could wear his emotions on his sleeve too. I think that was another thing that he would tell you. He could tell you that he loved you and he didn't have a problem with it, or hugging you, or.
Yeah, that I did notice that too. Yeah, he's very open and warm. And I don't know. Well, I will continue to play his songs on the show whenever I can. And I don't have his vocal range, but I will try to cover one of his songs at some point.
Yeah, I think it's just a question of doing it in your own voice.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it, really. If somebody's going to cover something, I mean, just instead of covering it necessarily, it's more like maybe just remake it.
Yeah, like a different version of it or something.
Yeah, because then you're not trying to compete with what he did. You're doing your own thing, and then it's like, hey, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and for me, like when I listen to a lot of songs, like not necessarily it's like, well, because Rock Me is so big, you have to do that song. Like I'll listen to a song and it might be, we used to call them the old B-side songs or something. It could be
Yeah,
one of those that you're just drawn to and you're like, I think I can really do something with this.
yeah,
You just never know.
yeah.
Or something you guys wrote with, so, but I appreciate you coming on here. I wish we had some more time, but the show is only an hour here. And all the stories and the gear talk, and I love all that. But I've only had one person I've interviewed that has passed away, and I haven't done a dedication show yet or anything. And I'm always like, how do you approach that? Like I want to talk about you and your experiences, but then you have Jack, and then where do we go? It's kind of a subject depends on the person too, what they want to actually talk about.
Yeah.
So, well, I appreciate you coming on here, and Robby is a studio guy. He does a lot of stuff, so get a hold of him if you want some guitar work, man. Look at it. His dog says yes. Yeah.
He's been bothering me for about 20 minutes now. I was like, hey, easy there.
I
Trying to keep
know.
sneezed at one point. I'm like, that wasn't me sneezing.
Nope. Any last words? Throw him in. Throw him in now, man.
I guess just keep an ear out for what comes next, and I guess that's really it. Keep a Dilf USA. I got that side project, and possibly we're still fulfilling tour dates with the band, with the Andrew Freeman singing, or possibly Terry Luce.
Okay.
And then when it's done, we may continue doing shows. We're looking into it, assessing it, and so far the response has been really, really good. Whether that's pity or not, I don't know. But the
Yeah.
band is, and nobody can replace Jack, and we will be the first ones to sing that. We know that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
But we definitely like honoring him and his legacy. So
Do you have any songs that are unreleased that maybe you think you'll,
I do. So
so maybe we
um,
can look forward to that here sometime.
yeah, I'm sitting on some stuff right now that I'm just kind of like, I'm in no rush to get anything out.
Yeah.
There's two of them that are pretty much done, mixed, done, and then one of them really just awesome blues song, kind of like a House of Broken Love meets Zeppelin, that I'm working on. And all I have is he sat right behind me here with a 58 in his hand, singing to the temp track, the
Yep.
template. And it wasn't like I got him in the other room and was able to get him to sing it down a bunch of times and comp it. So but the performance is like I listen to it and I'm like, oh man, this is amazing. It's just the vibe is just killer. And I just like, wow, if I could have gotten him in the room to do it, who knows, but
Mm.
that
Well,
one,
work with it. You know what I mean?
yeah, and it's special. So I just want to make sure I can make it as good as I can before that thing comes out. And
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
there's a few of them that same boat was sitting here singing to the template track sitting behind me, and I'm going, I'm still pretty damn good performance.
Hmm. Oh yeah. And that's where your engineer abilities will come into play because that's really tricky
Yeah.
trying to, yep. But let me know when that stuff comes out and we'll air it.
Okay, cool.
I'll
Yeah, be good.
debut it on here. That'd be cool.
Nice.
All right, man. Well, thanks for being on the show. Everybody out there, you can tune in every Tuesday night, all right, 9 p.m., 8 Eastern time. Chime in on our social media. Go over Robby's on social media. You can follow them. All their music, obviously, is everywhere as well. And I don't know. As I say, you can stream the music, folks, but please download it as well because it helps us artists a little bit more than, a couple streams for what, portions of a penny?
Yeah, portions of a penny, 0.001 is the best you get.
There you go.
Down.
Download, folks. Download. Thanks, guys, so much. I will see you later. And Palangi Studios of Rock. Take care, man.